Hey everybody, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener, and I thought I would go ahead and take you through the process of me making one of my ghost pepper hot sauces, but I wanted to include this clip in the beginning of the video because I'll tell you, for some reason, my ghost peppers were extremely hot this year. And as you know, ghost peppers can score anywhere on the Scoville heat index from 1 million all the way up to 2 million. And I'm telling you, these ghost peppers were hot. Hot. So hot that I had to actually change my recipe towards the end of it. And you'll see a clip that I'll insert later where I actually explain what I did. But if you like your hot pepper sauce extremely hot, my mouth's still watering, extremely hot, then just follow the instructions as I've laid them out. But if it's too hot for you, then you can add something else like I did. Anyway, let's go ahead and get on this recipe and see how we make my ghost pepper hot sauce. Hey everybody, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener, and for today's video I thought I would share one of my recipes for my Reaper hot pepper sauce. It's a little bit different than what you might find elsewhere, but just to wrap it up for you guys, I've got about 8 ounces when they were wet, or at least when they were before they were dehydrated, Carolina Reaper peppers. So obviously they've been dehydrated. I was gonna make it into a powder, but I thought I'll go ahead and resaturate them, reincorporate them into my Carolina Reaper hot pepper sauce. Now I'll be using a white onion, a medium-sized one that I'm gonna cut in half. You can grill the onion and the peppers if they're freshly picked in the oven, but I'm just gonna pan fry up the onion and the garlic, which has already been cubed up. But I'll carry you guys along the way. I'll be adding a peach or two. I haven't decided how much I wanna make this peachy. I'll also be adding salt and pepper to taste. We've got 3 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar here. And then typically what I do if I didn't have peaches is I would substitute brown sugar and raw honey, a little bit added to it. But I think I'm gonna forego doing those since I do have a couple of peaches. They're in season right now, and I'll be doing that. I'll bring you guys in along the way, but first step is to get the white onions sliced up and fried up in some olive oil on the stovetop before we do anything else. So while I'm getting the onions and the garlic pieces all translucent, incorporated, bringing out the flavor, because these were dehydrated, I went ahead and just set the dehydrated peppers in the water and vinegar just so they can reincorporate some of that hydration back, make it a little bit easier for them to process. I went ahead and somewhat diced up the peaches. I'm probably gonna be adding 2 to this batch. These were rather small. Sometimes I use the big white peaches. So I think we'll go with 2. Now that I've done that, the next step is to add all of this stuff into this saucepan. And then I will, after I get it up, brought the heat, incorporate it and soften up the peaches and the peppers. Then we'll put it in the food processor and go ahead and make it into a sauce. I'll bring it back in when I've got this done and those heated up. All right, I've changed it into a pot because we decided that with the Carolina Reaper peppers, I probably don't want to put it in a food processor, so I'm gonna hand blend it and I need a little more depth. Before I do the next step, which is hand blending, I'm just gonna smash everything up a little bit more just to make it so that it doesn't jam too much in the hand blender. But I'm gonna do this first. Obviously, I wanna get these into some malleable chunks, and I'll bring it back with the food processing step. Or the hand blender, I guess, in this case. So I'll be using the Cuisinart Smart Stick. It's basically got a high pulse or low pulse setting. And all I'm really gonna do is set this in here. Now this is pretty hot. I'll have to turn it off before I do it. But we'll just turn this on, press the button, and get this blended up. So now that I've got it hand blended to a consistency that I like, I have 2 options here. I can leave it like it is, let it cool to room temperature, and then put it in a jar for safekeeping. Or I can actually strain it if I want to take some of the pulp out. And then if you'd like to reuse the pulp after it re-dries into some kind of chili powder, you can do that. I like it a little bit pulpy like this. So what I'm going to do now is let this cool to room temperature, and then I'm going to fill up one of my glass hot sauce jars which I'll bring it back in once this cools. Now you'll notice it's not bright red like ghost peppers should be. The peaches actually change the color of it. I prefer this orangish color to it, but if you like it so that it is more potent and more red, then don't add the peaches and things like that. All right, we'll bring it back once I'm filling up my hot sauce jar. So I figured I'd insert this clip to let you guys know that I tasted the hot sauce and it was a lot hotter than I expected. So because I also had a recipe for mango habanero hot sauce, I decided to add a little bit of the mango habanero hot sauce, probably about 20% for volume, into that ghost pepper hot sauce, just to take the Scoville units from being well over 1 million to probably about 800,000 to make it a little more enjoyable to eat. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I wanted to make sure you knew that I did that because it was definitely a lot hotter than I expected. All right, let's get back to the video where I fill up the jars. So for my personal bottle, I'm using this bigger jar, of course a funnel, and then I do have a few smaller jars that I'll probably end up making as well because I'm sure I'll have too much for this one jar. This is still very warm, but I don't have time to sit here all day waiting for it to cool down, and it's getting late at night. But I just wanted to show you we're gonna add it in here like this, and then I'll go ahead and go to the other jars and we'll end up seeing how much we made. All right, so we've got the hot pepper sauce all completed, but wanted to give you an example of what it looks like all bottled up. This is the bottle that I'll be using for myself. Obviously that should last me a little bit. And then because I had some extra, I filled up 3 extra little bottles for it right there. Again, everyone has different tastes. I know that this is not a true ghost pepper hot sauce because I did add other ingredients like the mango habaneros to it. Obviously, you can take the ingredients that I have down below, tweak them up and find what you think works best, but I'll tell you, it tastes great, it has a lot of flavor, and it's fun to make. That being said, this kind of hot sauce actually gets better when it is allowed to sit around for a few days and the ingredients really kind of mix together well. I leave it out on the counter for about a day, maybe 2 days, and then I put it in the fridge. I don't recommend storing it in the pantry only because it'll turn brown if you don't go through it fast enough, and I want to keep it as fresh as possible. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this hot sauce making video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy gardening and thanks for watching.